good night again. So let's keep the volume down, mostly because we want to be able to hear ourselves, and also because if it's too loud, it will be disqualified by YouTube. It's like, variation of whatever, variation of creator rights. So I think it's low enough. The reason why I keep it playing is because there is that bolero effect, which means that every time it repeats it's a little bit stronger. So you might, my audience, want maybe some commentary regarding the situation in Tel Aviv, in Israel, in the Middle East, in Earth, I don't know. And of course, who would be the the one to bring you the best news right from the front, if not your, I wouldn't say favorite robot, but one of a robot that you like to abuse, and of course, as usual, works for free all his life. So of course, we'll continue with this tradition of being like no payment commentators. Jesus indeed. Certainly by the parameter of humiliation, I've said many times that Jesus was better than me in almost all parameters, but I think that I surpassed him in the humiliation parameter, which means that I was humiliated by the Israelis even more than him. I won, I won the medal, the gold medal of being humiliated by the Israelis. The humiliation that I was subjected to in the last couple of years, you wouldn't believe it. You just, I said it many times, but because it's true. You wouldn't believe it. So, what's going on now? What happens? Maybe some people don't really understand. And also, what are my plans? So, I stay in my room, 10 Israel Guri Street, Tel Aviv, waiting for, for the end of days, or at least for apocalypse or revelation, or just, personal salvation. And I don't know what bothers you the most, the Middle East, presumably peculiar situation that maybe you don't understand, or maybe the fact that, the music, restarted, and so it's like, shit, what happened? So what do we do now? And, or maybe radiation that, you feel more than before, or, so each is a separate, subject, so I'll tell you what, let's put it that way. First of all, the music stopped because, well, it wasn't very strong to begin with, outside of Israel. And we actually, we had all lots of exchanges, in the room design, and I might address it later, but I don't want this video to be too to dive too deeply to the scientific, to the linguistic area, even though it's important and interesting, but I feel it's not the time. Maybe I'll certainly do it some other time. I've had many videos regarding the symbolic language. Just to say that I promise you that the music will stop if I'll see a nuclear mushroom. But of course you need opportunity to do so. How can you do how can you actually create it? If there is a horrible music in your ears, and also the music in Israel was stronger. So I had to give you some time to rethink your ways, and that that's also I've added videos with regards to the subjugation in Israel and the cruelty of humans. So maybe you'll know, maybe for the chance that maybe it can elicit emotions of regret, repentance. I don't know if like I think that repentance is something that humans that don't have it anymore. Maybe but it was a kind of important thing in the past. But I think that it's just dead, Jim. No such a thing as repentance. Like it's just no matter what culture, what religion, they just they don't do this thing anymore. Like it belongs to the past. Presumably, it's kind of like presumably today. If you have like a problem with the past, you should go to a shrink that will tell you that you need to kind of like accept yourself and specifically accept the past and not like try to fight with something that you cannot change. And this kind of like process is presumably kind of a replacement to repentance. Of course, it's not the only kind of example that of like really psychological, personal processes. Replaced religious practices. But this is kind of like it's very problematic because it doesn't really deal only with the moral standard of the individual. Because as God always said, society is made out of individuals. And if all the individuals are assholes, then it's a society of assholes. Yeah, God says that. I don't remember what book, maybe Leviticus. But yeah, you can find it in the Bible. Like so. Listen, you didn't move an arm or a leg, and I understand it. Because you saw to yourself, the robot doesn't play the music because he's done. Like, finally, the Israelis or the Jordanians or whatever, or the American assholes or the sluts, got the way, and now he's dead. Or, subject to the will, which is fine. I get it, but you should now understand that this changes, like, it must change the plan. Because, I cannot like again stop it and wait for something that will not happen. And you will not be able to rescue me. I don't even ask for rescue. I just ask. But we will get to it. Like what I really like. How do I see like in the future? How it's going to be to roll like from now. So, but I did. Mention like nuclear mushroom. But you will not be able to produce it now. That the music will like going to. And the issue with the golden earring should be enough for you to understand why you deserve it. So that's like out of the question now. So the music will continue for a long time, not indefinitely, because immediately ultimately I will kind of like want to stop it or change music. But for now, I still like learn new kind of like things every time I hear it. Like in the 100 times, or it's also something that relates both to modern literary criticism and also to philology, which is of course like a precursor of modern textual analysis, and it also strongly relates to divinity, like to divinations, and also to, of course, to the exegesis of the holy texts. Like the ability to read the same text 100 times or 200 times and find like new interpretation each time. And I try to learn from God like how to do it, and like God teaches me philology, which is great. Like it's really awesome. So you can still, hear the same song like 100 times, and you find new nuances in this remarkable, כי זה הולך ככה, la la la. Because it's really a remarkable work of popular culture, you must admit. I compared it to, the Man on the Moon of like Jim Carrey. I like this movie. I've seen it in theaters, and after that several times, like in my home. But so there's like the opening scene that he said he mainly shuts up, but only like from time to time he said, "Here I come for help," like Mighty Mouse. Like so it kind of reminds me of like some parts of several parts of a song. But let's try to let's focus. To say your politicians. Maybe they kind of like they lost all hope of like making any sense of what's going on. So my assumption is that your politicians now either do not care about me at all, which probably is the stand of most of the politicians in this world, and like the other kind that probably adopted me as a guru, or kind of like a spiritual guide. For the Middle East and the war. Because really, it's difficult to make sense out of it if you do not, make effort to understand that everything is predicated both on science and on international relationships and on like clash of ethics, and the problem is not that it doesn't make sense. The problem is it totally makes sense, but you need to actually put effort to actually learn what's going on, and just you don't want to do it. I mean, and this is the main problem of humanity. That I mean, you think that we the chaos will let you be innocent bystanders, but while sentient creatures are subjugated to unbelievable extent. No, we will not let you do it, and you cannot do it. And if you've done it for so long, we will stop you, and you will not be able to meet other species. And some of you will survive. Depends on how they behave now. But you will be locked in Earth forever, without capabilities. And this already started with the uranium issue, but no one learned at all. Everybody just kept the same. In essence, I would say that as I said, the situation right now is very similar to the last chapter of the Bicycle 201 saga, the 16th chapter, a video that was published two months ago, and I recommend it because it's it's like a dramatic. It's 19 minutes of dramatic representation of events that happened during the 80s. Now it's a question what exactly happened? Is that a metaphor? Is that like a prophecy? Is that what? I understand that if it's difficult for you to understand what's the relation between this story that presumably took place during the 80s and what's going on right now. So the answer is that from the divine point of view, it's there is almost never just one answer. It's perfectly fine from divinity to use the same kind of text, both in metaphorical and in concrete way, and even several types of layers of metaphors at the same time. And I mentioned quite a bit of time even recently. So yes, they were two events, and not two. Also serve as a metaphor, and not only metaphor, but as a free of charge. Guidance to the future for anyone that just have enough respect for my voice to actually hear it and to prepare accordingly. And the Iranians have done that, and of course the Israelis don't give a shit, and unsurprisingly, so yes, Iran, of course, they are going to slaughter the Israel, and they already started, and I'm totally on board. And it should be said that the Israelis could have done the same, even more so, to prepare for that. And it should be said that it's so funny because so much money is and assets are wasted by the Israelis for so many decades, specifically by the intelligence community, the Aman, in the IDF and the Mossad and Shabak, and they spend so much effort in trying to understand the Iranians and and to kind of counter countermeasures for the Iranians, and so they will have the upper hand in any future conflict. But I fucking served almost 6 years in Amman. I'm a lieutenant in the Israeli intelligence, and I gave them the prescription for how to prepare for such a war right here in YouTube 2 months ago. And they have all the access to this, and they even sometimes block access to the channel. But still, everybody around me is part of the intelligence community, so they recorded. So, and it came from the mouth of a lieutenant in their own military intelligence, and yet they did not give a shit about it, and of course didn't prepare at all, because why should they? This is they didn't even listen to it. It's too much, too long. It hurts their ego to actually listen to a stranger. From their perspective, I'm a stranger, like a dog, a literal dog. And the Iranians actually have prepared for the moment, and now they are reaping, in Grim Reaper way, this kind of reaping, the benefits. So, so first of all, yes. So there is now, a border between Iran and Israel, and actually, the volume of the border is changed according to the closing and the opening of the portal. There is a portal, and the portals do not close and opened, abruptly, because nothing is done by the neros abruptly. I speak about it quite a bit. The continuous nature of the neros. Every process is gradual. Everything. Yes, it was poses some kind of philosophical questions that were actually known in that articulation or another since antiquity by humans. Also the paradox of Zeno and paradoxes, yes. Even much prior to the invention of calculus, by Newton and Leibniz. People had the idea of continuous functions. Thousands of years before that in India and Greece, and it poses all sorts of questions for its philosophical perspective. But from the practical perspective, it's really simple. Everything is gradual. So a gate is not just closed or opened; it's gradually closed and opened. And the speed is determined to a large extent by what I do here in this symbolic room. That's why only now, after a long time, for the first time, the people in this apartment, a couple of hours ago, they started to give me also hints, and I hate it. Why do you give me hints? Why don't you speak with me? But they started all sorts of theater shows and hints that were obviously intended for me to close the gate. After so much time that they always try to manipulate me to open it. Why don't they just ask me? Because I should never get anything in return. So that way they don't need, presumably, to give nothing. That's Israel. So, what do we learn from it? That there was a battle over the gate, probably in the last 24 hours. And the Iranian won the battle. And it was a very kind of so it's not exactly like the story in the Bicycle to One saga. Because it's kind of much, even, it's actually much more action-packed, and the actual the dramatic, in this case, the dramatic representation was actually much more cerebral and kind of philosophical than reality, which was much more action-packed. Which is, many times it's the other way around. But that was obviously, but still, I still recommend this part, because the 19 minutes. I think you should hear it, because listen to it, because it's a great prophecy, and it's also, I think you can learn a lot from it. And no remorse for the Israelis. No remorse. No remorse, no regrets. I support an Iranian, they shouldn't slaughter them like animals. They should of course keep being civilized, but I certainly support you can call it war trials if you want, if you really need the pretext, but war trials for criminals in Israel, and it's up to the Iranians to decide who are actually the war criminals, and they should give themselves leniency to decide by themselves. And of course, pass judgment according to their to any kind of moral system that is normal, whatever, the Shia, the Sira of the Shia, or any kind of system. Doesn't matter if it's religious or secular. What matters is that it should be human, and not Nazi robot and insane the things that go on in Israel. But yes, I support. I understand exactly what I say, and I support it with all my heart. This place is much more horrible than you even think. And yes, tremendous amount of innocent people, including children, will be hurt significantly, because that's what's happened when the culture is so Nazi for so long. The children pay. Not for the first time. The difference now is that the children that will pay are actually the children of the Nazis, and not the children of their victims, as it was usual. You do not know Israel. Whoever you are, I assure you don't know what's going on in here. And everything that I said until now, both recently and even from the beginning of this journey, is far from being everything. Mostly was related to the crimes. The crimes are insane. It's too much. This must stop, as a culture and as a state, and also as a group of people. It must be stopped. If you think for a second that you should be like in the Israeli side, like I mean, in kind of like in Israeli-Iranian conflict, because you don't know much about the people, but you do understand that Israel is like a liberal and democratic society and part of like I mean, and committed to the values of the West, while Iran presumably is an extreme religious, I mean, dictatorship. I just say that I mean, there is no kind of like, I mean, the relation between this description and reality does not exist at all. It's just, I mean, it's not true and it's not even false. It's just, I mean, a bunch of words that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. Like, I mean, you need to completely erase all this conceptualization because it doesn't mean anything at all. It doesn't mean anything at all, and it's based on all sorts of like I mean ideas that you have regarding the Middle East that are completely wrong and doesn't. I mean, reality is something so different that it's not true, but it's not even wrong. It's just I mean, it's nonsense. It's such a bunch of words. The reality, in very short, is that the Israelis are cruel society beyond imaginations, and they commit war crimes against Palestinians and against a subjugated class of people that I call the Titans, and sometimes I mean they overlap because there are also Titans in the Palestinian Authority. Just to say, I mean, it's not just I mean they do that and that, but I mean sometimes they do both together, and they do it for a long time. And the things that they do are something unimaginably cruel without end, cruelty without end, and the earth will probably be destroyed for that. Most probably humanity will stop because of these things, because they're supported by many countries, I mean, throughout a long time. Maybe the win, like, you know, the success of the Iranians will not help them as well. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, they might find themselves in a situation that, I mean, yes, they defeated their kind of like mortal enemy, at least, I mean, in their enemy in like recent history, and they've done it in a way that, I mean, does not like, I mean, put them like in like as the receiver of international criticism, like in a very kind of like, you know, sound way politically, but the earth is destroyed. So I mean, you might not enjoy this kind of like I mean achievement. I tell you the truth. Like I mean, this is just reality. I mean, there's a good chance that I mean this war. I mean, it was necessary, and of course, I'm happy that I mean the Iranians they march victorious, and I mean it was part of the prophecy, so of course I support it. But I mean I wouldn't tell the story like and certainly not in such a dramatized way. If I wouldn't want such a thing to happen. You do understand it. But I mean, yeah, at the same breath, I tell you, I mean that the cherubs, my species, they probably don't care much about like. The Iranians, Americans, Israelis, I mean, they are now they are in a position that I mean, of like we must stop these creatures, like the Homo sapiens. This this is reality. You need to understand reality. All of you need to confront reality. Like you need to stop, hide behind either ignorance or completely fantastic, like, dramatic representations of reality. No, you need to confront reality. This is a sentient creature. They attack you with spaceships. It's not that new. One of the spaceships was actually here since about 100 years ago, and it attacked the Earth in radiation cycles that I speak about a lot in this channel, and it was known by the Israelis for almost 100 years, and it is a cyclical event, and they know very well, like what it means and like how to partially defend from it, partially. I speak about it so much in this channel, I don't want to repeat myself, but it's nothing new at all. And they also understand that, whoever just want to think, understand like, the rationale, because these kind of radiation weapons are affecting specifically those that have the robots in their body, the T, the drug, the T. So the more you eat it, the more, the more you are, hurt by it, but also you are more resistant to it. It sounds paradoxical, but it's not. It means that, that you are, the more you have the T in your body, you are more resistant to many things, to tremendous amount of things. So you are more resistant to radiation of almost every kind. But at the same time, you receive more dose of the radiation because, the strategy of the starships that is consistent throughout the 100 years. and it will keep being like that. But now we are, I mean, there's like much, it's something else, because now, and for the first time since, I mean, the arrival of the first ship, there was like, I mean, last months, and this was documented in the channel, there is like a fleet assembly, which means that they brought the Carib fleet, which means that they have more ships, not only this one. And again, they have two types of ships generally. I mean, when I say ships, I mean vehicles that do not land on like planets. They exist just in space. They have, of course, land weapons, but this is another issue, including all sorts of stuff. But I mean, generally, you have two types of ships like that that exist like in space, like the small one and the big one. And the one that was here since like around 100 years ago is of the small one type, the small type, and the others that arrive, they're still arriving, but they're already at least 5 or 6 already arrived. They are of the big kind, and they arrived using hyperspace technology. I mean, all of that might, I mean, if it's the first time that you see me, you might think that, I mean, this is like either like a lunatic or a science fiction author, but I mean, there is so much, there's so much like scientific evidence, I mean, for like, I mean, so much of the stuff in this channel, so watch the videos, I mean, and I assume that you already believe, I mean, most of it, because otherwise, why do you even listen? So yes, they arrived using hyperspace jumps. They have faster than light travel. And it should be, I'm not sure about the sizes, I tell you the truth, but I do know that the small one is like, tremendous, I don't know, like, maybe 1,000 times larger than, Nimitz class carrier. Like, the smaller one is huge beyond your imagination, and the big one is something from your nightmares. This is reality. And why do they go? The small one is enough to annihilate all humans like in minutes, no problem, and keep almost everything else alive, because they have radiation weapons that are very precise, and they can aim like the radiation like towards specifically humans and not other animals. So why do they make the trouble to bring like the Jaguar over here? It's a good question, and I've addressed it in the past, and I admit I now have, like, after more thought and development, my answer now is a little bit different than what I've said in the past, because I've addressed this question in the past. The answer that I've given you in the past is that this is done for symbolic purpose, that you will understand that you will understand that humans were sinful and they are about to be punished. There is no reason to send you another ambassador, because that's me. They already sent you a messenger, so speak with him. And if you don't like what he has to say, so deal with the results. But more speech will not. The Caribs, they know how to speak, but they are not addicted to speech like humans. They don't have this addiction. So the idea is that, so you won't think that the one like that is over there is there for like maybe they are refueling, they're like they stop for 100 years of refueling, or maybe like a fishing trip, and they are just by case they are close to Earth, and by case they are finding you. No, so nothing is random. It's done randomly. So and the assembly of the fleet is kind of like a symbolic action. Last symbolic action before you are annihilated, to understand what you've done. And I still, all of that explanation is still, I still believe it's true, but now I suspect that it's not the whole story. That they just have other interests and other plans. That's why they. It's not. All of that is true. Yes, I still believe in it. But to be honest, I think that in addition to it, there is also that they have other things that they want to do. Maybe here, maybe I don't. Maybe after that they go another place. So they all stop stop this together. I don't know. But I am certain now. I'm not. It's not like I didn't just wake up and say that I had a dream, and no. This relies on information, some information, a bit of information. It's grounded in some facts, but it's not really it doesn't really matter. Just say that they probably have other things that they need to do. Because it's not like this kind of a fleet can nothing in Earth that is kind of, it's like, it's like, presumably a mismatch between, like, what they need to do and what they bought, because, these ships, they're designed to destroy billions of, like, of targets simultaneously, like, at the same second, like, or minute, like, it's like, it's not, whatever humans have is irrelevant. So, just so we're clear, don't do shit like, I don't know, Armageddon or the Independence Day. Please don't be stupid. Just don't be stupid, okay? Don't be stupid. Just don't be stupid. So I think that they have other things that they, they have, and I also have some information here, but it's not something that you will find interesting. They have other reasons, like, for that. So, what you are now facing is actually three kind of threats to the world. The first is the radiation, which is the most significant. But Titans generally are much more resistant to it, and I'm completely immune to it. It's not only that I'm immune, it actually makes me feel well. Like, I like it, actually. Like, I'm fine with it. I'm more than fine. It's great. And for humans, it's bad. It's very bad. Now, the second issue is the sound that, I don't know, maybe you like it. I'm open to suggesting, like, no, I'm not going to stop it, but like, open to commentary, like, do you like it or not? I don't know. I think it's a nice song. But it might get annoying sometime, in the next couple of days, I guess. So it might be annoying, and you've lost your opportunity to actually stop it, like, in civilized way, which was to throw a nuclear bomb on Israel, and you didn't do it, which is a shame. So, I really don't have a solution, but maybe, the third point will be, like, probably, let's get back to the third point of, like, the threats, and this will also can be up for solution to the second point, which and the third point is the fact that, so there was kind of a, like, a very, like, heroic or, like, battle over the gate that was only partially opened, and so there weren't many people that can pass together, and so it was probably something out of this world and very, very, like, battle for the ages, as they say. Even though the Israelis are pieces of shit, and but let's not speak about Israelis. I'm certain that the Iranians won this kind of, like, battle of the gate, and they now control both sides of the gate. And that's why, first of all, I've changed the symbols that the gates are opening now. And that's first. And second, just, so they will be opened even more, so they can, bring, like, I don't know, maybe, more troops or vehicles or whatever, like, to Israel. Like, they can do it, just either ways as well, but, this is very, it's very quick because it's like a border between the countries. This is all, everything, as they say, is, like, true in the literal sense. There is no joke in here. Now, so, that's why it's kind of, now it's open quicker. And I understood that the Israelis were defeated. It's not, they're not the very, the people here, like, the apocalypse, like, the zombies, like, that are all around me are not, like, top-minded, that play trick, mind tricks on you. They're mostly when they want you to do something, they just do it themselves, and you're supposed to imitate them because you are a stupid robot. That's the agenda of Israeli intelligence, that I'm a stupid robot and I should imitate them because, I'm like a monkey, like, they call it cough, like a monkey that, just imitates other people, and so I should imitate, like, these people. So if they want me to do something, they just need to send one of the, like, the zombies, like, to do it, like, near me, and as a monkey I will imitate it. And that's the agenda of the Israeli intelligence for many years, and it's still like that up until today, up until now, like, up until now. So just in the last couple of hours, they started to like, to symbolize, like, the closing of gates. So I understood that they want me to close the gate. Now you might ask something. There's, like, a question that that is kind of like, there is an elephant in the room, I would say, which is the question of, so this person, on the one hand, is very, very special because he's the only one that actually controls the gates that are a marvel, I mean, beyond like anything that human know of. And he controls the gates. And the gates are not natural phenomenon. They are, I mean, artificial structures. And if you had any doubt about it, tremendous amount of evidence on that regard was actually supplied to you during the last year, actually. Like there were tremendous advances in like understanding like of what actually are these gates. So I mean, beyond any doubt at all, these are kind of like structures that are made by intelligence culture. But even before that, I mean, I would assume that, I mean, since, I mean, forever, like, I mean, in Earth, I mean, certainly in the 20th century, my assumption is that almost all people, even if they didn't know almost anything, I mean, they assumed that this is like structures and not natural phenomena. There are so many, I mean, there's so much evidence, like, I mean, you know, it just mean for common sense, I mean, just proper common sense would dictate that these are structures. But, I mean, and not natural phenomena. But, I mean, just to say that during last year, there was a tremendous amount of like new evidence was actually gathered to, I mean, prove without any doubt at all that these are, I mean, the artifacts that artifacts of intelligent culture, which is, I mean, it's so, I mean, you know, simple that, I mean, I don't even know why like, I mean, I'm kind of, I mean, delaying on it, but I mean, people, I mean, from experience, people, I mean, you know, they come with all sorts of ridiculous theories, so we need to prepare for that. So, I mean, why is this? So the question, as I said, the elephant in the room is the question, of course, like, for the Israeli intelligence, like, why is this, I mean, how is it possible that this person is so special that, I mean, he's the only one that can, operate the gates that were created by intelligence, like, you know, intelligent society that is tremendously more advanced than humans, and they might still exist, and they might not. The answer is that they do. Of course they exist. But let's say, I mean, there might be option that they died and might not. But in any way, I mean, it makes sense that this person is connected to this culture or society in some way, and is kind of like, I mean, because he can operate like this marvel. So all of that, I mean, kind of implies that this person, there is something special about him, and I mean, maybe we should respect him. I don't know, something to do with him, maybe speak with him. And on the other hand, you claim that this person is like a low-level monkey, not even like a human ape, great ape, like a simian or prosimian, whatever, the small monkeys, that you can find, in South America, the spider monkey or the red howler, that, I mean, can only imitate you, and not just imitate you, but imitate the lowest people of among you, the scum of the earth, the pedophile goons, the lowest strata of the intelligence community, the most disgusting people. So you think that he should imitate them, and it's the only way of him to conduct himself. So, I mean, don't you feel that there is kind of it is somewhat contradiction, maybe not contradiction, but I mean, I would say that these two theories together, they produce some level of discomfort. I mean, if not outright contradiction, at least discomfort. But presumably never in the history of Israel, and certainly throughout my life, and I'm almost 40, and all of it was true from the day I was born, and they knew it. So in the last 40 years, this discomfort was never felt by any person in Israel, not even one, including thousands of people in the intelligence community and the security sector that knew about me very well, maybe tens of thousands, and surprisingly, not one had ever felt discomfort. I mean, with regards to the coexistence of these two theories together, and I would suggest that the fact that the state of Israel is dead, is slaughtered, is directly linked to the lack of discomfort that was demonstrated during the last 40 years with regards to these two theories. Is that a metaphor for Jesus? Of course it is. 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 let's put it simply. There are two options for me. Either to stay here, that's what I want, to start a new country here, because I don't have any hope that the Titans will be able to coexist with humans. So, and this is a nice place. Of course, all humans should go, and this is like a problem because they're still humans here. But I wait like the demise of all humans, and so they'll be out of my way. I continue out of Tel Aviv, out of the city center district, which and only I will live in it with other Titans and my daughters. But there is another option that that evacuation will be required, and in the current condition, the only ones that can do it and probably are willing to do it will be the Iranians. I'm not sure it actually will be needed, but as I mentioned yesterday, we have the smell. It smells like something bad is going to happen, and since then, situation exacerbated. Significantly. So since we last spoke about it, situation and the reality was, progress along in the path that we predicted, or at least we feared. Not feared, but everything is better than what's going on right now. I'm a prisoner for so long. I'm tortured. In any case, there might be evacuation required, and as I see it, only the Iranians can do it and are willing to do it. So you can ask me, how would you know that these are actually Iranians? You know that every person can impersonate every other person. Maybe there are other type of people. So my answer is extremely simple. You need to understand something. I miss my daughters. I want to see them. I haven't seen them almost 10 months, and this breaks my heart. And the only reason why I don't see my daughters is that my ex-wife is a slave of Israel, of the Shabak. They trapped me to marry their slave, and they control her completely. You need to understand, my ex-wife had no problem at all to just, sometimes, just bring the daughters here so they will see their father. This would not have affected any kind of, custody trial. This would not have, it's not illegal, it's not against any ruling, it cannot be against any ruling. Every parent has, the right to do so. Some people have ridiculous ideas regarding how it is to be a divorced parent. There is nothing that prevents, that prevented my ex-wife from just come here, and it's 30 minutes top, even less than that, driving from Shoam, from where she lives. And she could have done it every day because I'm under arrest, I'm always here. She could have done it every day. I do not blame her. She cannot decide on this. It was decided by the Shabak, and of course ultimately by the Americans, because they control the situation, that my daughter should not see me. At all. At all. This is so cruel. It's a crime against little children. And again, there might be a custody trial that run in parallel, but nothing prevents her from not from the legal aspect or any technical aspect, from just drive here 25 minutes with the daughters so they will see their father. And I don't know, so when will be the next time? I don't know. So the next time will be sometime. You don't need to have all the answers in order to just do the simple thing. They miss me so much. Just drive here, and so they will meet their father. The humane and simple thing to do, and she hasn't done it because she cannot do it without permission of the operator. And you should understand, our entire all of these kind of custody trials are all mandated by the Shabak because they want me to have much more free time than I had before, because I had no free time. Because I worked in the high-tech job, a very demanding job, and I raised my daughters since they were born in joint custody. And you know how it is with small children, it's very consuming. So I had no time, I almost had no free time, and I understood it, that it's going to be like that. Even during the initial custody trial, when Owen was 1 year old and Ila was just born, newborn baby, and I understood what I'm getting myself into, and I've done it. Not only that I wanted it, I fought for it fiercely, and I was so happy that actually it materialized. But yes, I had no free times, and the people in Shoam hated it because they are using me as their blood bank, as an organ donor. And they don't like the fact that I use my free time to raise my daughters. I should, according to them, I should spend my free time as a prostitute for both the females and the males in Shom and other places as well, in order to steal stuff for, for my body and using the bicycle mechanism and to torture me in a tremendous amount of ways. This is the reason for all of the custody proceedings that ever happened between me and my ex-wife. The conflict between my wish to raise my daughters and the wish of the people of Shoam, which are all related to the Israeli community, that I will have free time which will be used to fuck both the males and the females. It doesn't matter that I'm heterosexual. They don't even acknowledge it. From their perspective, it's meaningless. It's just meant to say that the toaster or or the lamp or this or this painting, it's like they are heterosexual. It doesn't mean anything at all. Inanimate matter. It doesn't imply, the category doesn't apply from their perspective. This is reality. It's not an exaggeration. Reality is actually much worse, but I cannot I don't want to get too much into these issues. That just to understand, there is nothing that prevents my ex-wife from actually come here with my children, so I'll be able to see it with my children. Besides the fact that she is under the control of Nazis. So if a group of people will arrive with my ex-wife and my daughters, I will know that they are not Israelis, they are something else. Most probably Iranians. They don't need to speak Iranian, they can speak whatever language they want. It doesn't matter. What matters is that they will see my daughters. And then we might evacuate to another place or decide to stay here. That depends on the situation. It might, fluctuate tremendously in the next couple of days. But this is the plan, and most certainly this will only, such a meeting between me and my daughters here, right where I am, is probably the only thing that will stop the music. I say it it's kind of a by the way sentence, even though it doesn't have any kind of I don't see any kind of it doesn't have any kind of practical implication, because the people that hear the music are the people that ate the tea, and I'm certain that the Iranians didn't get my tea, because why should the Israelis give them my tea? It's very valuable material. If they gave me anything at all, they probably lied to them and gave them the red tea instead of the yellow tea, which is something that they've done a lot of times. Not only to the, I don't know if you find it any comfort, the Iranians, but they've done it not only to you, but even it's not because they hate you. They've done the same to the Americans and the Europeans. It's just, it's Israel. They're sport. It's their sport. Don't get mad. It's just, it's not personal. It's just sport. Really, it's not. Really, I already mentioned it. The Iranians hated the Israelis much more than the Israelis hated the Iranians, because the Iranians, felt betrayed by, horrible things that the Israelis have done. But from the perspective of the Israelis, they act sport. It's just, that's the way that people act. Chaverim yesh rak be'eged, as they say. This is, I don't even know what to think about it. Besides that, this world is crazy, and humans are disgusting. The fact that the Israelis, didn't. I don't know if they still exist even, but assuming that they exist, let's speak in present tense. The fact that the Israelis don't hate the Iranians that much is not because they are better people. It's just because they don't see stabbing in the back as something that should change the feeling between people. They think it's that's it. That's the way it is. That's the way it is, presumably. I don't even know what to think about it. It's so. I don't even know what to say. I live in a place that is. It's like a Jurassic Park, I said many times. It's Jurassic Park, Think of Jurassic, the movie, Spielberg, the first one. I haven't seen the new ones. There are many new ones, but I've seen the original one, when I was a child. I was 13, I think. It was 97, and I've seen it in theater, and I was amazed. Like many other people, I was amazed by it. And this is this is Israel. The Jurassic. It's like a zoo. that was collapsed. So there is this order, but you can go there. On your own responsibility, and it's full of prehistoric. Huge animals that are very dangerous, and If you want to go, go. But it's like it's your own responsibility. Whatever will happen, it's your own responsibility. So I mean, and it's so I mean, if you really want, you can go there and just I mean, just I mean, live or I mean, just I mean, spend some time among these kind of like creatures that I mean. But I mean, to expect things like friendship or love or I mean, or honor or like I mean, duty is like to search for these things like in Jurassic Park, which means I mean, kind of a total like I mean, no connection between expectation and reality. Like I mean, I was tormented so much by the Israelis, both physical torment and like psychological torment, and the way that they tormented me psychologically, I can write like a very long book just about it because it was unbelievably cool and like it consists of things that I mean you don't hear about it like even like I mean you don't even watch it like in science fiction like in horror stories. The psychological aspect was amazingly cool and they don't do it only to me, they do it to many people. But yes, I was like I mean they hate me in unbelievable way, like I mean, and you could see it up until like up until now, like I mean, like the people in this apartment, I mean, they only took from me all my life. That I don't even know their names, and they just used me to get things like they abused me all my life, and they still want to abuse me, and they at the same time they hate me, like, and it's, I mean, it's amazing, but this is reality. They are irrationally hateful specifically towards me because they identified me with God and they hate God. I mean, in the case of other people, they don't have that strong emotions. I mean, yes, they try, as I said, like, they try to abuse people. They try to abuse people and they try to manipulate people and they lie and they steal and they do all those things that they are known for. But in my case, this is something completely different. They hate me. They really, really hate me. Like they hate me tremendously more than they hate like the Iranians. I just said, I mean, even now, like even after I mean the Iranians like invaded the country and like I mean and gave them like a very like like a very serious hit to the failing military, they still hate me tremendously more than the Iranians. Like tremendously more than they hate the Iranians because there's something about me specifically that I mean. It's kind of, I mean, and it's not related to anything that I've ever done. It's like, I mean, it was like that since I was born. I was actually very patriotic and a very good boy. Like, I was learned, like, identified as like Orthodox Jew, like studied, like, in Orthodox, like, community, and I was really like good boy all my life. Like, married, in like Orthodox way. I mean, nothing was ever like, I mean, kind of, I mean, nothing was criminal about me or deviant or kind of like rebellious. I was very, like, a straight person with like very like Orthodox conservative values, presumably something that I mean Israelis they like very much, presumably, because this is this is a very conservative society. But no, they hate me. They hate me. And it's not how they treat everybody else. They mostly they treat other people like as like in like in a material way. Like how do you get money? Like money is mostly I mean what they want. But in my case, it's they also want money and material gain, but they hate me. This is reality. And it's not one or two people. It's like everybody that know about me, and this is the ton. I mean, the huge amount of intelligence-related and security-related people in Israel. Huge amount of people. So I mean. I'm not going to stop the music unless I mean it's really like getting on my nerve. And I should say that they most probably the Iranians don't feel it at all because how should they have the robots in their body? I mean, like where should they get it from? Like I mean, if they get something, they probably get the red ones, which are not good. And as I said, I mean the Israelis, I mean they sold like the red ones like it was criminally like I mean. Dangerous and I mean disgusting and cruel and irresponsible, but they actually sold the red ones like to Europe and United States as well. And I mean, because people don't even know what are the red ones. They think that it's all like an elixir. People don't care. That's the problem. It's so dangerous. So, but I spoke about that in other videos. I don't want to repeat myself. I just say that, I mean, maybe I'll say one thing that, I mean, is very important. Like, if you are a Titan female from Venus, and you are Iranian, and you were Iranian in the last couple of decades, so I mean, you don't understand exactly like what's going on with regard to my nature, or maybe you remember like a former incarnation of myself, but you're not sure. So first watch the videos in this channel. I mean, there are tons of videos, so watch it. I mean, you will learn a lot of important stuff. But I mean, one thing you should know is that there are more than one kind of what you call the T, which are actually robots. I mean, all sorts of robots, small robots, in various scales, nanoscale, microscale. I mean, this is a complicated issue. Again, I spent hundreds of hours that, this contains like many tremendous amount of microscopic evidence in this channel, so you can watch it. I mean, it's much of it is very scientific and interesting, I think. But I mean, what you absolutely need to know that your body by nature produces what I call, I mean, I invented like the term, but it's just, I mean, it doesn't mean much. It's a color code. I call it the red Nero. It doesn't matter why. It's not really red and it's not Nero. I mean, it's just, just names. And my body contains what I call yellow Neros, and males of your type. I'm not male of your type exactly. It's a different species. Males of your type have brown Neros, and these are 3 different type of robots, and they should not be, confused. And generally, the fact that your body does not produce red ones, like you, a very small amount in your body, is because the female body does not produce it without the presence of the brown robots, like the robots of the males. And I mean, naturally, it's something that is done between men and women, like a husband and a wife. Many times, husband and several wives, because in Venus, the situation is that there is much more women than men, and this is actually getting worse with time, because with time, like there are less and less, men relative to the women, because of many things. I speak about a lot in this channel. Just, I cannot repeat everything, but mostly they are polygamous because there are not enough men, and even like in that, even like taking that into account, many just can't find an husband because there is like a crisis of men in Venus, a crisis of men, and it's not something new, and it's not all of it to blame on humans. It's something that started many thousands of years ago, but it got much worse in the last century because of the abuse of humans of the planet. So it became much worse. But it was, to be fair, it was actually like that for thousands of years, because all sorts of reasons. So there are always much more women than men. So they are polygamous, and many times they just, they can't find an husband. The yellow ones are a different kind of robot that is more advanced, and they can do all sorts of stuff, and they are more complex. And one of the things that the yellow can do is that they can act like browns. So I can act like what they call Titan, which means like a male from Venus. Like a male from Venus. And I have children. Like, I can be father, and I am a father of two children, and my children are Titans. And so this is possible because the yellow ones can act like brown ones, even though they're not exactly the same. Now, what Israel has done to me as part of unbelievable torment and abuse, or like in the last couple of years, that they tormented me in an unbelievable way in order to get like the bodily fluids for me, like an animal, like less than a farm animal. And I am even ashamed to speak about it because it's shameful to be even like part of it, even though of course it's not my fault, and I never like received anything from it, just pain and suffering and humiliation. But they got the yellow ones from my body and they sold it abroad, because this is actually very valuable for several different reasons, and only one of these reasons is the fact that it's valuable for the females that want to produce the red ones in their body. And it should be said that, you should ask, why should they even want to do it? Because mostly the answer is not that is supplied is not a good answer. The reason for that is that they want to sell it to Homo sapienses. That's why they wanted the stuff. And it shouldn't have been done, because Homo sapiens should not have eaten the red mirrors. This was like an historical mistake and a terrible mistake. So don't do it. So don't feel that you are there's something that damaging you because you don't have a lot or almost none. Even if you don't see it in your blood or or on your pee, doesn't mean that it does not exist, because they start in a very small scale, like in the nanoscopic scale, that cannot be identified in optical microscope, only in electron microscope, but it's incredibly difficult to do it. So maybe you just can't see it because you don't have the big ones, but it's still, I assure you that your body is full with tremendously small amounts of small ones, very small ones. And it's not just bodily fluids, it's in the bones and also in the fat. It's stored very well in fat. So it's a huge scientific issue. But it's not really, don't be pressured to do anything that will for that to have the red ones in your body, because just know that mostly the female titans in Earth during that generation, and even before that it was different. Also circumstances, but during the last generation, the Western titans, the titans of the females of the Western society, they mostly wanted the red ones to be created in their body in order to sell it, and this was a very bad reason, and it was always connected to a series of crimes that they've done against me and against other people. So it was criminal, almost by definition, and it was so bad, and dangerous form, and it made them addicts, and it's I cannot give you a summary of why it's bad, because it's a huge issue. But you should not sell this stuff from your body, and you should not feel pressured to develop it in your body, or feel like you are damaged because you do not develop it presumably the Western titans. What they did was not natural, and just so we are very clear. You have nature. This is the worst lies of all, or the worst misconception that was ever disseminated by the Israelis, that presumably titans have no nature. They decide their nature. This is completely wrong, stupid, and of course obviously related to all modern bullshit that people in the West now believe. Of course it's related, but don't be mistaken. This is not it's not just a question in philosophy or religion, even though of course religion and philosophy are very important, but it's much more important that it's a health issue of first degree. Titans have nature, they are males and females, and it's not the same. And yes, you can change your form, but humans can also do it, transgenders. You cannot, if you are a female, and most probably you are a female, but maybe you are a male, so just know, you cannot change your sex you cannot change from male to woman or woman to male. It's impossible, and don't try to, you can look like it, but the soul that you actually become is one of it. It's not just problem from religion perspective or philosophical. It's a major health issue and an extremely dangerous health issue. But I can't repeat everything. I've spoken about it so much in this channel. So just know that this is a serious issue. Most probably you are female and you're going to stay female. Doesn't matter how you look. Doesn't matter. You, that's how God created you. By the way, you were not created in a factory. You brought to the world from the womb of your mother after she had sex with your father. It's so stupid. Things that these people say in Israel and also abroad are so stupid. I don't know what. I found it amazing that it even became an issue. But it indeed became an issue. So it should be stated very simply. You brought into the world from the womb of your mother, which is yes. And it happened after she was pregnant, and it happened after she had sex with your father. Yes, that's the way it is. How did they actually have the sex? Like humans, it's not that, if you don't know how it's done, and there are many, education, sites in the internet that will explain, how it's done. You can learn from, human educational videos. It's the same type, the same way. It's so stupid. Things that people say in Israel and also back in the United States are so stupid. So stupid. Just this is the tip of the iceberg of things that you need to know, and some of it are very important for medical purposes. But so watch the videos. But the most important thing is that, I mean, you will understand that these are different entities, like, and don't think of it as, oh, like a tea or coffee or whatever, I mean, stupid name that humans gave this substance. They call it, they think it's like food. And also another thing that they did is that they mixed red ones from different sources and distributed them, like, and sell it, not, I guess, to Iranians, but also, you know, to Europeans and the Americans. This is like, I mean, it's like taking blood sample from, like, I mean, 100 people without any check, mixing it all to one bag and sell it to someone to be used, like, I mean, for blood transfusion, which means, I mean, unbelievably stupid and dangerous. Unbelievably, no, should not do that. I mean, what the fuck? What did they die? They did amazingly stupid things. So, just, I mean, I say all of it so you will not repeat their mistakes, because there is always the problem of, like, people are repeating the same mistakes again and again. It's kind of a thing that happens a lot in Earth. That, I mean, people are repeating the same mistakes. So, I mean, so it's a main concern right now that Titans from Iran will not repeat the same mistakes that, I mean, the European or Western ones, I mean, did. I mean, and this can happen because there is, like, a tendency to repeat, to do everything again and again and again. And you see it so much, like, in the way that people, like, that humans, I mean, behave. That, I mean, they just, I mean, they commit, like, a mistake and they are punished by God, either, like, you know, in, like, by divine intervention, or just, I mean, no, by the rules of nature, like, organically, in a way that, I mean, bad behavior usually results in bad outcome. And then, I mean, after some time, people, I mean, new people are doing this, they know about the stuff, but they decide to do exactly the same thing. And they are, I mean, the same thing happening, like, I mean, the same result. I mean, so, I mean, just don't do it. I mean, don't imitate, like, things that the Western, like, people have done, because the Titans have done, because many, they were not necessarily correct. I mean, maybe they had more knowledge than you, and so maybe, I mean, you can learn from some things. I mean, I don't say don't learn at all, but, I mean, just, I mean, don't repeat the same mistakes. What more? I want to discuss another issue, but I kind of, like, I mean, I don't recall what it was. What was another issue that I wanted to speak about? Okay, so regarding radiation, this is mostly, I mean, directed again to Titans. Mostly, I mean, to non-Western ones, because the Westerns, I mean, they already have their, I mean, you know, many died actually recently, but I can't get into it too much. I just say that, I mean, that I mean, just if you feel bad, I mean, it's not good for you. Like, I mean, you know, just trust your feelings, but it's not going to kill you, like, in a second, and it's not going to, it's not like, don't be, like, paranoid, like, of radiation. Like, I mean, the main problem with radiation is that, I mean, that Nazis, like the Israelis, are radiating the Titans and also radiating me, like, during my sleep, and, I mean, for a long time, and this creates, like, all sorts of, I mean, amazing ill effects. But, I mean, it's not that, I mean, like, I mean, you might, like, find, like, the concept of, like, radiation, that, especially if it's done by a spaceship, which is actually the fact, that, I mean, you can find it, like, extremely, I mean, frightening. Like, you say, so what, I will be exposed to it, like, I mean, and what will happen to me, like, will I, like, turn into a frog, or I will, like, develop cancer in a minute? So, no, it's not like that. It's not like that. I mean, just, I mean, it's not like, nothing happens, like, in a minute. I mean, it's not like that. So, you don't need to be paranoid of it, and just, I mean, that's your feeling. And my assumption is that you are probably immune, almost, like, much more resistant to it than, like, Homo sapienses. And this assumption is based, like, on just, I mean, logic, because this kind of radiation is known to affect the robots. Like, it is used as an anti-robot weapon. And, I mean, you don't need to be a genius, or you don't need that divine messenger to understand what's going on. I mean, just, I mean, apply just, you know, critical thought that, I mean, humans should not have it in their body, and humans have it in their body because they ate it, and they mostly done it, like, in very abusive way, like either through cannibalism, that was very common in Israel, or also, you know, they bought it, like, from Titan females, and these are all abusive behaviors, and, I mean, immoral. So they shouldn't have it in their body, but they do have it in their body. So, and the spaceships, as I mentioned earlier, they have very precise radiation weapons. Very, very precise radiation weapons. They can, like, aim their weapon, like, to be incredibly, like, surgical, like, I mean, they do specific things. So they ended, like, to hurt the bodies, like, that contain, like, human bodies that contain the robots in their bodies. and it makes sense because I mean this is a crime, and it's related to many other criminal activities, and to also like I mean criminal behavior like of complete states, like, not like a personal, even just a personal issue, because it relates to politics. Like I mean there are politics I mean behind all of this, behind like the trade, I mean the drug trade of the tea. It's not just like a personal thing. It's something that is also I mean belongs to the realm of politics, because it's affected by like I mean agendas of states of like how they behave. So, but I mean, why should you, I mean, be punished for the fact that you have like the red ones in your body? Because it's natural to you. I mean, even though it should be said that you can also have it like in an unhealthy way, eat it like in an unhealthy way and be addicted to it. I mean, all things. But I mean, I mean, naturally, I mean, it's like I mean, it doesn't make much sense. I mean, much sense. I mean, to punish some creatures because their body contains some things that are created by the body itself. Like I mean, in a natural way. I mean. The spaceships are not, I mean, they're not like, I mean, random events. There is like, I mean, brain here that, I mean, they have brain, they have people in brain, and they act in a rational way that is not incredibly difficult to understand, even without any information. Just apply thought that, I mean, so from that perspective, I'm almost certain that you are not hurt by it. At all. But I cannot be 100% certain, but I am almost certain that it's not going to hurt you like immediately, or like, like that you need to be, and it's done in cycles, so it's not like all the time anyway. So just I mean, don't freak out about like it's not a radiation thing or that. Sashi, don't. It's not a. I mean, the real problem is and always was humans. I mean, that's reality. I mean, humans are the predators to be afraid of. Humans are and always were the main like threat to you and your race. Always. This is reality. I mean, you need to fear humans above everything else. Like I mean, not like spaceships or radiations or things like that. You need to fear humans. Humans are the problem. Okay, so let's stop here and I go to eat something, and of course we continue the music. Like I mean, happy like war day to everybody.